You are definitely a spiritually filled, thinking woman, and that is what we've been lacking in our community.
Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow @DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
If you don't have time to listen now, you want to save this, check it out, binge on Buzz later. For those of you that jump in, like it, save it. For those of you that add great commentary, any comments will be read so that it is in the audio. The audio will be extracted from this post and put up and put on places that will last forever. So please bring forth your opinion. What's for breakfast? I don't know. All I did, I opened my eyes and I realized yet again, I must awake to the day without somebody bringing me breakfast. As many people as I feed in this city, I'm still without breakfast. And I got to fix that. I'm going to have to fix that. I got to get more social. Have a great day. Good morning. Hello, Marquita. Marquita over there got that good lemonade, and she just won't serve it up for nothing. I'm telling you, she come out, get people hooked all these mango lemonade. Marquita is like Forrest Gump with the shrimp. She got mango lemonade, strawberry lemonade, kiwi strawberry lemonade, key lime lemonade. She got all this lemonade. And you can't get a lemonade out of Marquita for nothing. I run into Marquita all over this city. Marquita wear the cooler. She got that good in that cooler. And when you see her and she don't have a cooler, I need y'all just to say, where the strawberry lemonade, where the mango lemonade, where the key lime strawberry peach lemonade. I mean, the woman got the best lemonade recipe, y'all. Marquita, go and do the GoFundMe. I need you to do the GoFundMe. I need you to drop the PayPal me. What is it? PayPal.me link. I don't care if the lemonade is $5, $7, $12. I'm willing to pay $12 for the mango, kiwi, strawberry, peach infusion. Put in a little jack. See, this is what I tell you. You got to understand your premium customer. The premium customer will pay for the convenience and the premium. I'll pay $12 for some Marquita lemonade. That ain't what she charged. I'm just saying she got good prices. But Marquita got that lemonade in that cooler better than Beyonce. Okay. All right. Wanted to come over because we are talking about trap. The trap house in Atlanta. I rode by last night. Saw, a group of people out there taking their pictures. They have a very active Instagram. It is one of the most brilliant marketing plans. And the thing about it is, had somebody else done it, because what happens in social media and what happens pretty much in urban culture, who owns urban culture? Who owns all the urban myths and stereotypes? Because of late, we have seen campaigns like this get swiped off of social media and taken into mainstream. So first, while it is not something that should be glorified, even though y'all got the box golden set Blu-ray of The Wire, even though y'all got the box set, don't ever want to open that VHS tape of Boys in the Hood, because it's going to be worth millions of dollars one day. See, I'm just saying, I feel like this. Let's just, especially for me, being that I am in marketing and advertising, I love the fact that, hey, the brother did it. And what I love about 2 Chainz, he will go gorilla on you in a minute. What I love about 2 Chainz is, and 2 Chainz and T.I., I'm trying to think who else. There's somebody out there right now sitting on a marketing deal waiting till they get some money. There's somebody out there right now that's got some of the best lyrics ever that won't even put their stuff out. They Jay-Z dropped the album last night. Beyonce dropped albums in between contractions. I'm just saying, they make that investment in themselves. And there's somebody out there right now, can't get a deal. They won't publish their book because they can't get a book deal. They don't want to put anything on YouTube. They don't want to post. Oh no, I can't post this on Facebook. Oh, you got to sign on this. Look, I be looking at people crazy. And they tomorrow, I want to tell you about this, but can you sign my disclosure statement? Hell no, because I might steal it and I don't want to be sued. But never be afraid of a little bit of a competition. Okay, tell me an idea, I'm gonna tell 1,000 people, and you better get there first. First is really good to do. And I'm not loyal like that. I'm just saying. I'm a blogger. Okay, I share your ideas and everything else. I'm the stuff I'm telling you. I probably seen another million billion down do it. You best to go do it because it is a million billion dollar idea. Just like I just told y'all about Marquita strawberry kiwi peach mango lemonade that works good when you got a shot of Jack in your pocket. I'm just saying it worked like that, right? T.I. and the industry always, but the best stuff comes from the hood. Exactly. The best stuff is original and coming. I do admire his business acumen, but this trap house has crossed the line. And that's what I want to know, Henry, because let me tell y'all, go out there on my YouTube, and I want y'all to find a conversation I had with Dr. Henry M. Carter, who we celebrate his PhD, what are you about, maybe 6 months into it? That brother is doing some things. Not on that, Dr. Henry Carter, I'm about to call you Leonard Tate, which is a compliment. Leonard Jones. Both of these brothers have done the work in this city that is Atlanta. So I don't mind. There is no line. Hello, there's my dad, Bobby Latimore. Jasmine, I see you. And Marquita over there. Kim, hello. Let me see who else. Turkisha, stop by and so forth. Okay, both of those brothers have done the work. I have had an extensive conversation, what I call an extensive conversation, where Dr. Henry Carter lifted the veil into the life. And so I know he knows when he's talking, the conversation going on his timeline about the trap house. I know it is a darn good conversation, and you should go over there and check it out. But I also talked to him about fatherhood and some other things. That's just an amazing conversation that's going to live forever, and it's going to free some people forever. So I respect that they are in on this conversation. So the question is, he says, I respect the brother's business acumen, because what could have happened, it could have been a Toyota sitting out there. Well, it probably wouldn't have been a Toyota, but who is? Yeah, Toyota. I'm talking about brands that have appropriated urban culture. There have been times when I have been sitting here working, and I hear, I haven't looked up at the television, but I hear every essence of urban, quote unquote, urban culture. And then I look up and there's no black people on the screen. I hear the quotes, the sayings, the hashtag. I hear the swag, and then I look up and I'm like, dang, they didn't even no black person got a check off of that. A lot of the sayings and things like that. There are people who they comb social media now, whereas they used to come and pay for that kind of those creatives. Now they just jack them off of social media, right, Sean Thomas? Now they just kind of ride through the hood and see what's popular. They come with the little cameras and get a little piece of this, that, and the other, and then you look up, there's a drum line. I'm hearing that superior African beat reaching into my heart, and I look up and ain't no brother. I'm like, come on! Shout out to the Atlanta Braves that's got them brothers on them drums, y'all. They get that beat in your system before you go into that game. But how long before they let go one brother, then they're gonna let go another brother, then they're gonna go ahead and get the whole drum line away. So it happens, but we want to know who owns urban culture, and why is it that these cultures, we have this culture, but we haven't copyrighted it. We haven't trademarked. There's a sister out there, the t-shirt Black Don't Crack. She wanted to launch a t-shirt line for Black Don't Crack, and she went, as long as we've been saying it, she went and found out that there was no trademark on it, there was no service mark on it, and so she got it. Same thing with Tyler Perry. What would Jesus do? Didn't he go and get the trade? We freely give it away. Sean Thomas is the entrepreneur, and she is marketing branding. She tells you how to own your stuff. There ain't but few women. There's all kind of coaches all across this country, but Sean Thomas will tell you how to own your stuff. Get with her and let her tell you how to own your stuff. What was it? Tyler Perry got a bunch of slack because he went and service marked or trademark. What would Jesus do? Okay, for Medea. Gerald A. Griggs is an attorney. Get with Gerald and own your stuff. Because what's happening, just like in that movie Bring It On, people will show up with that camera and get all your essence. In fact, I'm waiting right now for the first Essence magazine that ain't got a black person on the cover. I mean, we've already had two at a time lunch. Talk about urban marketing. We had to launch a blog campaign against Essence because at one time, just a few short years ago, that zero ads that all of the ads in the Essence magazine refused to let black women make eye contact. There's something, y'all know me, I talk about media apartheid all the time. I talk about the fact that black people can't make eye contact on movie posters, walk through your mall. It's Friday. Y'all going to the movies. I know Dr. Henry Carter, even though he don't like trap, he gonna be at the movies this weekend. Okay, I know Mark Polite, which is one of the biggest political bloggers out of New York. I know he gonna drop everything and be at the movie when he get off on Fridays if it's a blockbuster. So at the same time, we got to make sure that we own some of this. We create the trends historically, create the trends, but we don't cash in. This week, I have been kind of taking a break from talk radio and listening to some of the urban channels. Atlanta Radio, I used to do an article called Inside Atlanta Radio. I used to be on Atlanta Radio. And I noticed, I said, well, let me check out some of these new stations. We got a bunch of new stations. I'm trying to read the comments, y'all. And on this video, the comments, it only shows me one or two at a time. Sean says, it's smart business. Everybody talking about Jay-Z's breed. Right, and they always talk about Jay-Z and how he has his corporate relationship. Jules Joseph Howard III just came in. Hello, Jules Joseph Howard III. I keep Jules in my time. Talk about connection to the trap. I keep Jules in my timeline so I can see what's going on. Because I'm going to tell you something. Kwame Ture, formerly Stokely Carmichael, he said, always keep your good hood brother around. Keep your connection to, I don't care. He said, I don't care how far off into them suburbs you go. Keep an escape route, which Sean Thomas and I keep, because if some jump off, I'm going to get to Sean, and she going to get us back to the hood, and we're going to be good. Okay? So no matter how far you go off, look, I take my elders' advice. Noble Drew Ali said one day, he said it 100 and some years ago, right, Dr. Henry Carter? Noble Drew Ali said black folk gonna get caught up in the future because they're gonna try to match that lifestyle of people that are of not them, and they're gonna get caught up. And so then comes, I keeps up with the prophets. No matter the bougie delusion I live, I keeps up with my prophets. Okay, going all the way back to Tupac. Okay, I made sure my kids, in my grandparents' house, they had that trilogy. They had Jesus, which was, kind of conspiracy on what Jesus was looking like back then. They had Martin Luther King, and they had John F. Kennedy. And I lived in the house where we not only had Jesus and John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King, we had a personal letter from John F. Kennedy for how much indoctrinated my folks were, and we had a letter from Dr. King. But then when I came along, I said, okay, we got to put Tupac on that wall. You can't have not have no Tupac on the wall. So my children grew up with, I made Jesus black, a black Jesus that I saw on Good Times. So we got to have a black Jesus in this house. Things turned around. We put that black Jesus up there. I put black Jesus up there next to, well, we kind of debated on whether Kennedy had to come down. And then the Martin Luther King. And then we had the Tupac. Then we added Obama and so forth. So that's what my children knew. Don't touch that Tupac picture. Okay? And, that just was urban culture. Barbara Streisand will not do an album release in front of a gas chamber. The gas chambers is so painful to Jewish people. The trap and the trap house is so painful to black people. Henry, you are right. But at the same time, I didn't even know, I knew nothing about it. As I live in bougie delusion, this is probably as close to I think I've been, and it probably was one next door and I didn't know it. Because back in the day, there were lines drawn. We knew that there were certain elements in our community. What I want to get to, Dr. Henry Carter, is I want to know, hello, Janita's up here too. It's very obvious to me now because okay. I want to know is how we bought so in the stereotypes that we don't believe that these things that were going on in other cultures. When I first started going back to the market of what I was talking about on the music, the radio. I listened to urban radio this week, and I started listening just because we had the new old school station and a couple other stations coming online, and I was listening to see what they were going to bring to the market. One of which is old school hip hop and so forth. I got to scroll, y'all. The reason why they believe Jay-Z is brilliant is because that voice was never in charge. Yes, Revolution. Y'all, I got to keep in the comments. Girl, you just too funny. I love music, but I don't worship men, says Leonard. Sean comes back. White Jesus messed me up for years. It was so messed up. Yeah, it was. Let me see. I grew up in the trap. Yep, Sean says she grew up in the trap. Okay, I know you all. Let me see. I know you all know this. Okay. So what I'm listening to as I'm scrolling the dial and listening to the new stations coming in Atlanta and watching the changes that's happening in Atlanta radio, because that's something I used to blog about. I'm also listening to the marketing. And because I, go up and down all day long, mostly I listen to talk radio, sports radio. When I turn on the sports channel and I hear the marketing that's over there on the sports channel, and that's where you hear the most appropriation of urban culture, that you hear us, you feel us, but you never see us in that marketing, right? Let's see. We have been programmed to be insensitive to our plight. Exactly. We have accepted profits over plight. And that's what we want to get to, Dr. Henry Carter. I knew you'd bring it home. People will say, well, they got paid. Well, they got a check. But the thing about it is, when you argue with them that they only got 10% of 100%, okay, for the most part, when people talk about our buying power and our spending power and so forth, when you break it back down to it's only 10% of the whole, but it is that the 10% that we have, as they tell us each and every day, as they watch every nickel, dime, and penny that we spend, it is realized that it is the 10% is still the wealth of other countries. It's still the wealth that can be massed and that can be instantly, if we ever wake up with a real consciousness, it is something that we can use to educate our children, where our children don't have education debt. It is where we can have economic impact in our community. The biggest complaint we have is about gentrification, when we allow and drive past each and every day edifices that sit empty in our community and won't come up. Just like last night I said on the trap video, the house was there. The house was for rent. Anybody, just because he uses to market the trap, any organization, any small group, any individual could have leased the house or gotten any kind of structure and used it to solve any of the problems that are going on in our community. But that doesn't happen because we always in this wait mode. We always in this mode of waiting. Let's wait till we get the right people. Let's wait till we get the right numbers. Let's wait till we get the right money. And we're losing continuously, generation after generation after generation. We got right now, we did a conversation just the other day. Well, we weren't talking about poor kids. We weren't talking about poverty. We were talking about middle class kid problem. Middle class kids got problems because the middle class kids who what do we say? They started from the middle. And then those that started from the top are out there trying to figure out, well, how come all of the successful people, as we were on This Ain't That Book Club, and we were reading Charlemagne the God, and then you open up Charlemagne the God, and Charlemagne the God book, he has a whole chapter about how he was born to these folk, and all the men in the family was bum. They went from ballers to bums because they were drug dealers, and they started using their own supply. And how he realized that when all the women in the family were just waiting on him to become another one of the bum men that come out the family, he decided he was going to go and get another lifestyle. And it was in, let me see which one of these chapters we read. Oh, actually, wait a minute. I got a bookmark right here. So here it is right here. How did I know that Vincent was unapologetic exhibition? Oh, no, we don't want to read that part. That ain't it. Some kind of way I bookmarked this thing. Let me see. I'm looking. Sorry for the dead air. I'm trying to read. He details in this book. He details how he decided to get out of, in the part I have bookmarked. He details how he came out of it. The thug life. My transition from nerd to thug started with an innocent comment about Belle Biv DeVoe. I was at my aunt's house in New Jersey, hanging out with my sister. I don't think this is the one I read. I'm trying to think. Transition from nerd to thug. Let's see. Ronnie, so cute, declared Rachel as he strutted on screen, rocking an African medallion, full-length black leather coat, and a high-top fade. No, Michael's the cute one, counted Teresa. I just wanted to be down, so I took my sister's side. Let me see. That ain't it. I'm trying to find it. I don't know. I can't find it right off. Because I read it on the thing here. Let me see. The part that we're on is talking about put the weed in the bag, but he used, let's see, we must think as individuals, this is Leonard, and just claim all their entrepreneurship. If another Negroes won't, then you must do it. Once people outside find out, they are going to exploit it. I don't have any problem with that. And that's what we're talking about, the exploitation. When I first started blogging, and one of the reasons, when I first started blogging, I just wanted to write about Atlanta. I wanted to write about every essence of Atlanta, even though, I just really wanted to write about every essence of Atlanta. And what happened was when I went to some of the first events where I went as quote unquote media or got credentialed, I won't say as media, but when I was actually professionally credentialed to go to some of the very first events, I went and I was my own photographer, so therefore I would be on the line with the other photographers. And what I noticed was the behavior of the photographers that showed me an insight into this industry. It was a music awards event, not major music awards. This was Atlanta back in the day used to have all these different music conferences. Atlantis Music Conference, Jack the Rapper and all those used to come to town, right? Well, Atlantis Music Conference was a huge weekend conference, maybe even a week conference. I'm trying to remember. And I was professionally conditioned. They would have an award show, which paid, award to some of the indie bands and things like that. So and it was at Center Stage, to give you kind of some visuals, at Center Stage. And so every time, somebody would come out, some of the presenters would come up to the stage to take the picture. If it was, everybody would run up and all the photographers would jump up and get online and take the picture. But what I noticed about is that when somebody of a minority or black or brown would come up, the photographers didn't really move. They didn't run to the stage. I don't care who it was, what the notoriety, what their popularity was. They weren't trying to get that shot. And I was like, well, what's up with that? How come I'm the only photographer to move when it's a beautiful brown person at the microphone or a beautiful black person at the microphone or any kind of hue other than pale pink at the microphone? I'm the only photographer getting that picture. And so I began to then study the coverage. And this was, I guess, kind of my eye-opening into media apartheid. And here I am. I'm willing to take pictures of everybody. I'm willing to publish everybody's picture. So that week, that come Monday morning, I said, well, let me go and see, because, traditional media, they don't work on the weekends. I said, let me go and see what the coverage was like. Let me go and see why. And I knew the photographers. I knew who they worked, what entities they worked for. And I knew that, we were side by side. So virtually we should have the same pictures, right? And then I remembered, I said, well, those photographers got to go back to the photo editors, where those photo editors, they have a dictate as to what the narrative should be. And I go back and I'm looking at all the entities that the photographers work with, and I'm looking at their coverage, and I'm like, whoa, you can't even tell there were black people at the event. See, this is where the programming comes in, Leonard and Henry. Hello, Trisha Bailey. This is where the program comes in. This is why we believe the myths and the stereotypes. Is because looking at the coverage that came out in the AJC that year, looking at the coverage that were in it was some national magazines, like say for instance Cody. There was Cody Chestnut. Cody Chestnut is one of the most popular folk indie artists, right? And Cody always wearing these fantabulous hats or whatever. I couldn't find any coverage. And let me tell you, in the arena, Center Stage lit up when Cody won the award. It lit up when Cody actually performed. But then when I went to look at the coverage, I couldn't find anything on Cody. And he was the headlining award. That was there. He was what they pitched. The Urban. He was what they pitched. Was why you should be in the building. Because here they had found this folk artist. Here they had convinced him not only to show up, to come out to receive an award and to perform. But when I looked at the coverage come Monday morning, there was nothing glorifying the greatness and the brilliance of black folk art. And then in every picture and I'm like, wait a minute, my picture, and I compared my pictures side by side. We were cropped out. Not only were we not covered, we were intentionally cropped out. You cannot even tell based on the national and traditional and local coverage of the event, which happened right here in Atlanta, which at the time was considered to be Black Mecca. You can even tell that there were black people at the event, especially even on the panels. And I was like, wait a minute, there was a black person on the panel. There were 2-3 black people on the panel, but it did not highlight that. And I began to realize those are not, you can't sell those photos. And also I noticed a behavior of the photographers when they did interview black and brown people. They didn't know what the hell to ask, no matter how popular or famous. I've witnessed red carpets where people at the very height of Scandal, the second season, because the first season they kind of slipped by. Everybody was like, who is that? What is that? But the second season, I witnessed red carpet of them having to explain who Kerry Washington was, and that she was in this record-breaking TV show, and not being able, and I'm talking about national AP and all kinds of things. And I literally heard people saying, can you please interview her? Can you please talk to her? And things like that. So, we think that a lot of times people know. They don't. Just as much as invisible to us, we are invisible to others and things like that. But, and what I realized is they couldn't sell those pictures. They couldn't get them produced. They couldn't get the approval from the editors. And then also, I noticed from the photographers is there was a very simple manner, a behavior of taking a picture of a black person. They would always take that file photo headshot just in case something happened to this or that artist. And that I thought was ridiculous. I sat in on an interview. We were summoned one year to blog about Whitney Houston, not to drop names or anything like that. Being that we were one of the first blogs out there, we were summoned with national publications to blog about Whitney Houston. And unfortunately, this was I wish I could say, no, let me say this. I wish I could say it was at the beginning of her downfall, but it was during a very heartbreaking time where she had lost her father and she was trying to get back out there. And they summoned us to this, private location. In fact, it was down there, the building. I think where we might have been across from the Hard Rock. I think it was across from the Hard Rock. Seems like it was, because I know it was several levels, and all of these different publications were there. And I went into, and finally they said Whitney. We waited all day. They was trying to get her, propped up to come on in there and do the interviews. And in my mindset, me thinking black woman to black woman, heartbreak to heartbreak, I'm like, how is she going to be able to do this, having just lost her father? I'm having to scroll through comments, y'all. It's not moving. Let's see. You were the first black female I ever met that was into tech and social media, which is why I still follow you. Thank you. And so Whitney couldn't pull it together. So Bobby Brown came on. And he wanted to, and this is why it breaks my heart when people keep trying to throw Bobby under the bus, because that young man has done everything in his power, y'all, to protect the image of Whitney Houston. And people like to, they just love to tear him down. And just like, in the movie Hidden Figures, you didn't see all them brothers up in Hidden Figures. Get that book. Let your children read that book so they can see how much support, male support, the women in Hidden Figures have, and the wonderful families that the women in Hidden Figures came from. You don't get that brilliant without some kind of support, which is why, and I'm skipping here and I'm going to go back, which is why our kids that started in the middle and started at the top want to know why all the success figures started at the bottom. Okay, you didn't let them start from the bottom. You made sure they started from the middle, they started from the top, and you're trying to keep them there. But they don't have success stories that they can reach to. Hidden Figures is that success story. Dorothy Vaughan came from a very well-to-do family, making that investment, taking care of her children while she went off to educate herself, taking care of her children while she went off to go into that entity, that to start from the bottom and work her way back up to get that supervisor position. They don't know why that supervisor position was even open. They never told us in that movie why that supervisor, and we don't even know to ask the follow-up question. This is why I blog, because there's always a follow-up question. Why was the supervisor, how many of you have asked, why was the supervisor position open in the black unit in Hidden Figures? Go get the book and find out why that position was even open and held by another black female prior to. What happened to her? This is why they think that racism, why they perpetuate racism as a form of bullying against black people, and why they will today say, in one of there's a guy out now that's he's anti-trans community, and he messed around. Somebody said, well, if you keep picking on the trans community, you're going to increase the suicide rate. And he slipped up and mentioned an experiment that they have going on against us where they're monitoring racism. And he said if that was the case, then black people will be highly suicidal because racism is a form of bullying. And then he tried to stop himself because he had alluded to an experiment and documented information out there. That's why they think that we're strong. That's why they think that black women don't experience pain, because in America's race construct, racism is a form of bullying on a culture, and they can't figure out why it hasn't killed us up. Just even the thought of worrying about you being lynched or you being shot by police, even though all these police shootings going on, why hasn't it caused more of us to be suicidal? That is something that is being studied. It's been studied every day. Every day they take the numbers. That's why you even have to send people on we got the Census Bureau, and it makes sure that we got some political representation. No, it's not. It's that Census Bureau, that data is keeping tabs on a whole lot of stuff. So back to a couple of things that I have mentioned and did not close my thought process is one. When I was on the photography thing, I realized the behavior then, and I realized how the race construct in this country works, how there are certain dictates that go on along in media, and all the media heads still to this day want to call me crazy because, as Dr. Henry Carter alluded to, once you get paid, once you get that check, once something starts to support your survival, you will begin to wholeheartedly believe in it. Right now, Trump is going against Mika. Well, Mika, she is a woman. We had to decide as women and them feminists over there to leave her behind because she participates in the hidden assault on women and women's rights based on being on that show with Joe and in that circle of men who abuse her. We've had to then decide to leave women behind in the Cosby case because many of them were quiet on their victimization. Many of them went on even after being assaulted to some degree by Bill Cosby, even though deadlock, went on to be on the Cosby Show. So there's a book out there called Covering. Black people are in a very serious state of covering. And I said black people, but guess what? White people are in a very serious state of covering. Gay people are in a very serious state of covering. Transgender are in a very serious state of covering. Hispanics, Latinos are in a very serious state of covering. Barack and Michelle Obama are in a very serious state of covering. And by covering, the definition of covering means that you are downplaying significant traits that you deem less important because you are able to find a way around and support your survival. Which means if you are doing that, if you liking anything that just ain't right, if something ain't right about it, but you get a check, but you get paid, but off of it you're able to survive, you are participating in the hidden assault on how you self-identify. If you self-identify as black, and at the end of the day, it's okay that the news media run, strong stories of narratives against black people, And you just say, what, we the anchors, they got somebody got to have a job. We got to have a job to survive and all that. You are participating in the hidden salt. If you are a black woman and you ain't wearing cornrows and you ain't wearing natural hair, you are participating in the hidden salt because you are downplaying your natural trait. The natural trait for your hair to curl and kink up, whatever your hair does. You and your curl pattern that women are discovering because there was a generation who participated in the hidden assault on black women because they permed our hair, they changed our hair texture. So it's a dynamic well beyond the trap. The trap is, getting back to closing that theory, the trap is just a part of it. It's just an outward, it's just another, what is it? Illness. It's something that went on and here's the thing, it didn't just go on in our community. Hell, we can go down the road here. This is Atlanta. The element of life changes every 2 streets. We can go down the road here, and I think I posted on Dr. Henry Carter's, comment page is, where is that line? Where is the line that survival changes to where, what is it? What do they call that thing where you almost, it's where the oppressed become the oppressor, where you then turn away from your natural enemy and start hurting those that look like you. And I think that's what happened. There used to be, if you know, early on in the drug game, those who sold drugs, it would never sell it to anybody that looked like them. But then all of a sudden, again, that money, that survival, that cost, they end up deciding, well, we need more money. We're going to have to sell it to people that look like this. You just summed up my position. I was trying to sum up your position. You the one got the PhD. I'm trying to get like you. Let's see. There are trailer parks. But here, the thing that bothers me is that while you and I might understand this thing transcends everybody, its behaviors go across the board. There are those who think that and trying to make the argument on the trap house as if we're that only element. We are the only ones. They had a little white guy on the news, and he was like, well, the trap house, that stands for drug and prostitution. Well, I'm a black. I ain't never been to the trap house. I ain't never bought drugs in my life. Okay, never participated in prostitution in my life. How does he know? How is he so quickly able to recognize what it means? Because it was part of his consumption. He might have consumed drugs. He might have consumed prostitution. He probably know more Jay-Z lyrics right now than I ain't heard the Jay-Z song yet, because I ain't made it a point to overconsume Jay-Z. I ain't a fan of Jay-Z, but I know every time a Jay-Z song come on, he got a good beat. And half time I have to stop and make myself listen to the lyrics because I'm from the South. I like a good bass beat. Well, Jay-Z music don't necessarily have bass, but I'm just saying, it's like the problem comes in when we think it's just us, when we can't reason beyond it being part of the race construct and understand that it is behaviors, and that behaviors. I think Leonard and I were talking about this on the post the other day, and just yesterday, and I was saying we've got to get to a point and understand these are elements that are germane to everybody, everybody in every part of the world. I mean, you go to the other side of Atlanta and the same element is there, but the faces change. The same element is everywhere you go. Everywhere you got these 3 tiers, you got the economic divisions and so forth. But what we need to find out is, how is it, where is it, at what point? A lot of people like to say Francis Crest and Neely Fuller, and I'm like, I've heard everything they've had to say. Have heard it directly from Neely Fuller, and I kept saying, okay, that's 101. Where's the intermediate level? Where's the advanced level? Where's the graduate level? We know how it starts. We know how it's perpetuated. We know how it continues. How do we end it? How do we end it? How do we change it? Let's see, I'm tearing up. How do we end it, Leonard? And you've been out there. I think you and I hung out at one of the National Network's voting things or whatever. Beyond that, like you just said yesterday, it's beyond the vote. It's beyond the vote. Well, I know for me, what has worked for me, even though one of the people I supported in this theory is probably going to be indicted. But you have to help a person get on the ballot. Our people realize, oh, we got to vote. I mean, watching people in our community, go around and skating around with John Ossoff, I know, right? Um, and having to escort, to bring this gentleman in. Not only that, what was the guy? Carter. John Carter? What was the guy's name? President Carter's grandson or whatever. I was at, some of Atlanta's most pristine event galas and bringing this guy up to me, being introduced, and, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take a selfie. You can have a selfie with me, but then I had to think about it. It's like, wait a minute, where you going with that selfie? I don't know if that was an endorsement, it's not in fact, it had to say it's not an endorsement. I still need to know where your politics are. But yet here are two guys that many people haven't seen or heard before. But then you got John Lewis talking about he's mentored this guy. They got him sounding like Obama and so forth. He's mentored this guy, but many times you come back to the hood and to the events, I've never seen you bring him with you. I've never seen him in the ranks or the flanks. So, but now he's the best thing ever, and we need Jason Carter. Okay, and we need to elect him. Well, how come the men I have seen in your ranks and in your flanks, how come they're not ready to run for office? Would it not be, especially coming out the Barack Obama, we still don't have somebody we can put in the race. We still, y'all they sit there and talk Joe Biden out of running. We made this deal with Hillary, and this is me in my mind trying to imagine what I think they said to Joe. We made this deal with Hillary, said, you'd run to help me get elected, and you'd not run, and you'd let her have her shot at it, thinking clearly she can beat out Trump, And I'm going to forever be mad with Barack Obama for that, because him being that apologetic president, I know he had that conversation with Joe, Joe Biden, for him not to run. And I think Joe's going to end up, has made some of those illusions, and probably will end up saying that had to be. And if he comes back next term and try to run, and I think it's good. Okay, take 4 years off, because I think whatever Trump does, I think Joe Biden within the first 100 days as president can fix it all. But I think he will have to allude to the fact. So anyway, the trap mentality, it's not something that's just done to us. We're doing it to ourselves. That we understand. Yet at the same time, let's see, you are hitting it out of the park. Thank you. I try to be well versed enough to stay in the major leagues. I've been sent back to the minors a time or two. But, it is, and I hate to say it is what it is. But urban culture, let me say this. At the same time that 2 Chainz and his organization, brilliant guerrilla marketing, at the same time that he has that pink house on Howell Mill, there are other situations, guerrilla marketing style situations going on all around this city. And the news trucks didn't roll out for that. And I'm not saying that, and I hate for us to always have to try to balance out something we've done negative, the whole 2 wrongs kind of thing, where they do it wrong too. I hate that we even have to discuss that. I hate that we even have to always make that kind of comparison. But like you said, somebody said earlier, we've got to, who said it on the post, we have, and I'm trying to think of the language that y'all use, but somebody said we have to stay behind and fight the aftermath. That's what's going on with the trap house. While it is marketing, while it is selling music, while it is what happened, what I said last night when I live streamed from over there, go over there and look at the Trap House ATL Instagram. It's got to be upon us that everybody who over there has set their baby on top of that stove and with a phone and took a picture, we've got to have an effort to reach them. Okay, not just say that's an element. We don't want that element to ever be, because this is what happens is we say, oh, we don't want that on the news. We don't want that tied to us, but let's fix it. Let's fix it. So when a pink house with a car and a stove pop up in anybody's neighborhood, not because it happened in a commercial district where the audience and the consumers and the customers are of the haves, and I'm not even gonna say they white folks. I'm gonna say the haves because it's more than white folks fighting this thing. We got to stop that. Okay, this is right now is about the haves and the have-nots and those the wants and the want-nots. I always say that. On the other side of the haves and the have-nots, you have those who want and those who want not. I'm just tired of this pseudo unique construct being black. Okay, gotcha. I love 2 Chainz dabbing Santa Claus sweater. He made $2 million off of that idea, which he did turn right around and spend it to the community. And 2 Chainz would do that. So, and that's why I said even with this. But like I said, he's not the only one that jumped up in Atlanta with a guerrilla marketing campaign. Hell, 2 Chainz rented a house and painted it pink. There are those who bought an entire building and are doing things out of, so it's just that those things didn't have the narrative. They said it was, folk art, eclectic art. We don't even get a chance to put art on there because, and I tell y'all this all the time, what's my saying? Pioneers are persecuted until their passions become popular and is duplicated. That's when we begin to look at the brilliance that is black life. That's us. We don't look at the brilliance that is black life until us. I was looking at a documentary or something that came on the other day, and they were talking about the deal for the Beats headphones. And I was like, oh, cool, Dr. Dre gonna roll up. No. Because if you remember, they said Dr. Dre was a billionaire. Well, there's a couple other people that got billions of dollars off of that deal as well. And they were celebrating I think those headphones have been out, a year, 2 years or whatever. And, this guy, non-black guy, was on morning national news show celebrating the fact that he negotiated that deal. Got Dre on Dre's name and assistance on those headphones, and how they decided to go, because he knew that if he partnered with this man was on CBS this morning. I don't know who he was. That is hip hop. This man was on CBS this morning, and he was on there with the celebration of those headphones. In fact, he negotiated that deal. He knew that if he partnered with Urban Culture, and he went to the top of the game in urban culture, being Dr. Dre. And if he got Dr. Dre in on this startup, and they asked him the question, well, how did you decide on headphones? Because they actually had a number of products that they were going to, like Jay-Z did, take Urban more into corporate, right? Get a corporate partnership. And they ain't worth the money. Let's see. That's man's name are those sold those headphones. His name, right? His name, Perfect Business Plan and Model, right? But we don't do that. We don't have a system. We sit back and waiting for somebody to come. Like, I'd love for Oprah to come by DryerBuzz. In fact, there was a time people still come up to me. I remember that time you was getting ready to sell DryerBuzz. Yes, I was. It's always for sale. You build it to sell it. You build it to sell it. And yeah, come talk to me about some meetings. You can have it. I have built a culture around blogging. I have built a culture around the salons. And it's always big for sale sign on it all the time. But he talked about the different products that he had and the different names that he wanted to partner with. And he talked about how he decided to do it with Dr. Dre. And I think he said they did headphones. Because first of all, Charlie Rose has the best follow-up questions ever. I worship the mind. I mean, if Charlie Rose leaves this earth, we got to study that brain. Charlie Rose said to them, he said, but you weren't selling headphones. He said, in getting that deal, you didn't sell them headphones. You sold them heads. We took a moment of silence on that one. Charlie Rose said to that brilliant man who authored that, the construction of the brilliance of partnering with Urban Culture to get a product, because what y'all don't know and probably haven't thought about, for the past 5 years, there was the dictate of startups is that somebody has to come with something beyond these phones that can go in a box. They knew, because every morning 5:30 in the morning, there is a nationwide, countrywide, global meeting of where the next $1 billion is going to go. And the dictate was put out 5 years ago that it has to be something to go in a box, not an app, not digital. It has to be something that could go in a box. And somebody was trying to do a television, and because I remember they called it the lean back. Remember, they used a little bit of that lean back. They wanted you back in. They wanted whatever this product, the next thing that was going to get the billions of dollars, the $1 billion deal, because everybody always wanted to know about the $1 billion deal. And so I'm watching this, and they were like, the next $1 billion is going to go to whatever product can go in a box and cause people to lean back. I'm telling y'all, that's all they said. That's all they put out there. It's got to go in a box, and it's got to cause people to lean back. Now, everybody thought it was going to be a television. That's when the smart TVs came out. But people were like, no, I'm going to buy that smart TV because, everybody got to have one, and it's going to make Black Friday do well. But nobody still wants to sit in their family room. They're not trying to get in their living room. And so the race was on. Come up with a product that can go in a box that can cause people to lean back. And I want you to look back over the last 5 years, other products that came out, and those headphones was one. And Charlie Rose said to them, well, y'all got the deal, but it's not like y'all sold the headphone. He said they didn't give you that money because you were selling headphones. They gave you that money because you were selling heads. You knew how many heads you could put in those headphones. That's what they wanted, because now what's inside those two headphones, what's coming through those headphones, where is it going? If you got on headphones, one on one side, one on the other, that means what goes in one ear can't come out the other. It's going to echo, and it's going to go into the mind, and then over the next decade, you are going to have those minds. Y'all, this thing is so deep. And you're going to do it with urban culture, because urban culture sells the world. Put some urban on it, and you can sell it globally. If you go and look at the money that those headphones make, they're not even concerned about the sales within the Americas. If you go look at the movie industry, they're not even concerned about how many movie tickets y'all buy on Fridays in America. If you go look at the music industry, they are not concerned about how much music sells in America. If you go and look at education, the immigrants have already, all throughout the Obama administration, met with your Congress people and told them there is no turn, zero return on educating an American. Educating an American is not going to sustain the future economic prowess of America. You will need to open the floodgates and allow these other countries that have spent the past decade on technology and future products that will support and sustain a country's wealth. America, for the past 30 years, has spent their time investing in the prison system, thinking that slavery was going to be reinstituted and that was going to be able to be their national gross product, right? Wrong. So now they are everything's trying to pivot. America's trying to catch up with technology and make these investments. There are people walking around Atlanta right now looking for napkin stage ideas. You ain't got to have the idea. You ain't got to have the team. You just got to be able to put that idea on a napkin, slide it across the table, and slide back that check. And I just told you, I grew up on Charlie Rose. I'm telling you, Charlie Rose is it. America is just a market. America is just like the red carpet. Put a beautiful gown on an actress, center down a thing, and women with the real billions gonna buy that dress. The rest of them are gonna go. I was wondering why they were travel weekend. Okay, I was wondering why the news was at the airport. Those women are only, that's why they give them those things. And that when they get to the end of that red carpet, end of that event, they got to turn them clothes back in because they can't afford it. Hot off the runway, you can't afford that. Send that back. Because what we know about actresses, they don't get a lot of checks. Okay, so they have to send that stuff back. But that runway sales, those items sell on that runway to women who can't afford it. It's just like everything else. They're tiers. They're 3 tiers. There are those who want it for free. They take that picture of that actress on that runway, go get they aunties and uncles, and they make that dress for them. There are those. Even First Lady Jackie Kennedy used to knock off. She never could even buy some of those items. She'd go and have somebody make hers. You know, that outfit she had on when John F. Kennedy was assassinated was a copy. It wasn't even a real thing. I'm just saying, I didn't mean to shade like that, but it wasn't even a real thing. So, you know, we just have to think about it, get beyond, we got to get beyond some of this mindset that we have, that these myths and stereotypes are only us. Because here's the formula. Right. She said so shady. I know, right? I'm like that because everybody thought she had on Chanel and it wasn't even Chanel. She had somebody make. She wouldn't even buy a Chanel. She wouldn't even buy it. She had somebody make her stuff. Okay, so the real thing in all of this is that we got to stop thinking that, you know, getting paid is enough. We're not going to fix it until we can actually begin to survive off some of this. Because what 2 Chainz did was, you know, if you go back and look at distribution, we still don't own distribution. Monique, Tyler Perry, what's the guy from the television show Empire, and who else is fighting? Oprah, right? Can't neither one of them green light and distribute a movie, and yet they fighting about being blacklisted. Yeah, all y'all blacklisted. You know, they halftime won't even. I don't even think they yet let Tyler Perry movies go make money outside the country. I think he bootleg around the world. You know, so he took a Walmart check because y'all kept bootlegging. That's how everybody knew. You realize you met Tyler Perry not because of his plays, but because you went to a family event. They had a bootleg of his plays, and he was like, "Well, I can't fight the bootleg, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the Walmart deal and get my money up." Patti LaBelle can't sell a pie. She had to go take Walmart money, and they sold the pies, whether you buy a pie or not. I mean, I'm just saying, y'all, this thing is so diabolical, and there's so many myths to it. Why the police guy got on these shorts? Lord Jesus. So there's so many layers to this thing. There's so many layers to it, and where we're trying to correct it, where we're trying to fix it, and what I'm most upset about is not that people don't want the lifestyle of the trap house to exist. They just don't want it to be seen that we are also a part of something that degrades us. You got to be willing to do more than just be, shame. There's this thing about it. Everything right now that is being appropriated, you know, that's the new thing now, how much urban culture is appropriated, is because they make us ashamed of it. And then we get ashamed of it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to own it. See, if you're ashamed of it, you don't want to own it. One of the top, there's a TV show out there right now, a TV series out there right now called Baby Daddy. Something black community is ashamed of. But if you go look at the show Baby Daddy, ain't no black folks on it. I'm like, you're going to at least have to hire one black person. There was a movie called Baby Mama. Okay? There was, listen, the next time commercials come on, listen for all of the urban influence in the commercials, and there's no African Americans, there's nobody from the diaspora in those movies. Hell, at one of the top step, when the step shows got their first national sponsorship, the winner of the step show wasn't even black. I'm just saying. So, you know, we got to stop allowing these things to make us ashamed of it, because when we are ashamed of it, we then don't want to own it, and we need to own it. Guerrilla Tactics is launching a dating site for married people. Shouldn't he have been ashamed of it? He ain't going to be ashamed of it. That's the thing about it is we're the only ones that we become so ashamed of it. And over the past decade, everything that's popular and top right now. Let me give you the best example. Right now, as I end this podcast, we are live on Facebook. We are live on the top social networking site in the world. This social networking site is a duplicate of what used to be the top social networking site that we were ashamed of. People who were on blackplanet.com, people who were on asianplanet.com were shamed because they wanted to on the internet was full of crazy degrading stuff. It was full of porn. Okay, and if you at that time were on the internet, people thought you were out there consuming porn. But there were two groups on the face of the planet that knew that the internet was going to be a way to reconnect their diaspora, because in living in America and living abroad, they knew that there was a race construct in a number of countries, and that the internet was a way to reconnect their diaspora. Unfortunately, they were made to feel ashamed of wanting to reconnect their diaspora. Asians and blacks, they were made ashamed of wanting to reconnect their diaspora, and so therefore they left those very early on technologies. Those technologies were then thrown in the tech junkyard. Then come along the dot-com boom and the dot-com generation that took that same technology and made those billions of dollars off of it. And then they were made to feel ashamed for being so young and so rich. And so they abandoned it. And one of them in particular, Josh Harris, abandoned it, even though he told CBS that people will watch one day many, many millions of hours of television and movies and film on a very small device. It's coming. And they made him feel like he was insane and he was crazy. That he showed them, he proved to them that there one day will come a time when people will want to record every essence of their being, every essence of their day, even the meals that they eat, and you will be able to make billions of dollars off of it. And they shamed him, and so he took his last little few millions of dollars and he went and bought an apple farm. He disappeared almost like Amelia Earhart, and nobody can find him. And to this day, when you Google Josh Harris, you come up with the deadliest catch, right? Instead of Josh Harris, because he disappeared. And then they shamed him. And then here comes Mark Zuckerberg. And he goes, oh, no. MySpace. Okay, remember the black people and the Asian people were so shamed about being in tech communities, trying to reconnect their diasporas, that they were so shamed that they left that and they went over to MySpace. And then MySpace, was connecting all these people as friends, and it became its all hood and all kinds of stuff, And then everybody began to be shamed about being on MySpace, so they abandoned that technology. And then here comes Mark Zuckerberg. And he said, I'm gonna put the right element in there. I'm gonna figure out how to make this money. I'm gonna go back over here to where Josh Harris and them early first adopter dot-com boomers and find out what they were talking about. I'm gonna bring all these elements together. I'm not gonna just let y'all get out there and connect your diaspora. Which, if you did not listen to Mark Zuckerberg's announcement the other day, where he said, I want you to get connected. I need you to connect your diaspora, and I want you to do it to the tune of 1 billion. I need 1 billion of y'all to go from your personal streams over here into these Facebook groups where I can really get that data analysis, and I can take that data analysis and I can make all this money off of it. And then, so I'm going to shame you, but black folk, they're ashamed about being in Facebook groups. They can't stand the Facebook groups. And then here you come again in the same culture. And it continues to recycle and be perpetuated on us. We got to stop being ashamed of it. And like I said last night at the Trap House, live from the Trap House, if you are so ashamed of the Trap House, get with your group. Go to your Bible study. Go to your fraternity, your sorority. Go to the alumni association. Go to your homeowners association. Whoever you tribing up with, y'all get together. Go rent a house for a month. Go over there. You can go to Airbnb. And go, and whatever you said that Trap House ought to be, go and duplicate it. That is what upsets me about this. We can talk all day and have the best great debates in the barbershops and the salons, at the water cooler, on break, at lunch, in traffic, all day, every day. We can have that conversation. But until we get to the point where the faces of those who will bring forth the alternative begin to change or get some support or some financial backing. Because as soon as the Trap House went up, there are those who got together in their meetings at 5:30 in the morning or their 9 o'clock meeting. And they said, listen, if he can do that, okay, overnight, without anybody knowing it, and pull that kind of audience, perhaps we can then encourage them for a cause. Let's go tag Pretty Girls Like Trap Music in our cause and bring them over and let them know that there are alternatives. Shout out to those of you who do quickly move to action and to alternative. You do an excellent job. That's why I blog, so that I can support your efforts. That's why I come on and I talk about this, and I talk about a little bit more than your curl pattern, because there are people who are looking for an alternative. There are young people out there who have come to me personally and said, we started from the middle. How do we too then get to the top? Why is it that we only believe you only get to the top if you start from the bottom? Our kids that started from the middle, and some of them started from the top, are having the same problems as our kids that start from the bottom. We have got to quickly move to the alternative. And if 5 or 500 don't come, then do it as one. One can make a difference. One can make a difference. You might get persecuted because what you will do hasn't been seen before, but push on, push through. Get through, because someday what you do, your passion is going to become popular. When I started blogging, when I started showing up at these events and being escorted out by security and Secret Service and all these other kind of things, people thought I was crazy. I've been called crazy many a times by the top heads of countries, who then come back to me and say, Miss Yolanda, we have used some of these social media tactics and technology, and we have been able to lift our entire poor out of poverty with this technology. America can't say that. America won't ever say that, because America has a construct that the poverty must always be among us. The poverty must always exist. But we got to quickly get to the alternative, y'all. If you mad at the Trap House, you mad at 2 Chainz, I don't know why, but if you are, and I understand it's got a devastating history in all communities, not just ours, in all communities. Because Trap House don't ain't prejudice. They serve all at the Trap House. But if you want an alternative, quickly get to an alternative. Get with somebody that's doing the work. This podcast taped live in front of a social media audience. It will be added to DryerBuzz.com as we have the great debates, and it will be popping this weekend in the salons and the barbershop. Shout out to all of y'all that are out there doing great things and good. I see you. I blog about you, and you can follow the Buzz and binge on Buzz at DryerBuzz.com. Thanks for everybody that gave your comments and everything. I'm about to be persecuted. Leonard, you are persecuted, but guess what? One day the work that you're doing is going to be so popular that it will be duplicated. Just keep doing it. Just keep going. And I know it's frustrating. Believe you me, I know it is frustrating. But y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for joining and participating. And those of you that listen to the replays and share it and share, thank you so much. Y'all have a great day. Y'all go stop by the Trap House. Get your picture. If you're on the right side of history. Bye.
You are definitely a spiritually filled, thinking woman, and that is what we've been lacking in our community.
Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.